We knew within 5 seconds we had a problem, and it was instantaneous.
In on the Beach manager, Jay Williams, watched from this third-floor balcony as a rogue wave crashed into the boutique hotel's lobby.
We knew within 5 seconds that something was wrong. The problem appeared instantly. From his third-floor balcony, Beach manager Jay Williams watched as a powerful rogue wave smashed straight into the boutique hotel's lobby. Scientists are now raising alarms at a level California has rarely experienced before. In the deep darkness before dawn on Christmas morning, massive Pacific waves began slamming into the state's coastline with a force far beyond what anyone expected from normal winter weather. These waves shattered every assumption about what was considered typical. Emergency alerts lit up cell phones in red. News banners flashed nonstop. Along the West Coast, the feeling of danger, urgency, and fear became as real as the shaking ground beneath people's feet. California suddenly found itself caught in a fast-growing coastal emergency. This was not just another winter storm. Instead, multiple dangers came together all at once. The ocean was no longer acting like a familiar neighbor. It became a relentless attacker. Scientists across California, from Humboldt to Santa Monica, issued warnings without their usual calm scientific distance. They spoke openly about immediate danger, not damage measured in inches, but in entire city blocks potentially lost to the sea. Whole communities faced the real possibility of being overwhelmed by nature's power. Fear spread quickly through coastal towns. Residents were jolted awake by the deep vibration of waves crashing into the shore, the sound traveling through the ground itself. People rushed through dark streets toward higher ground, torn between hope that the worst would pass and the growing realization that something extraordinary was unfolding right in front of them. As waves raced inland, roads disappeared underwater where dry pavement had existed just the day before. Sirens screamed through the salty air. The voices of officials blended with the roar of the ocean into one clear message: move now. Every second matters. What was happening was more than a single event. It marked a turning point. Live data streamed across emergency operations center screens. Flood maps were redrawn in real time. Families huddled together in temporary shelters. Scientists faced a chilling question. Were they watching the start of a new era for California's coastline? One that would permanently change what the coast looks like for generations to come. The danger did not stop at the shoreline. What people saw on beaches, cliffs, and broken seawalls was only the surface of a much deeper problem. As towering waves tested harbors, highways, and homes, scientists watched closely for wider processes that could turn a coastal emergency into a disaster lasting decades. Underwater sensors, quietly buried beneath sand, collected data on incoming wave energy and how the land itself was responding. Each surge brought more than water. It carried pressure, stress, and force that weakened cliffs and seawalls built for what were once considered rare, once-in-a-century events. Every impact traveled downward through sand, cracked clay, and ancient bedrock. Layer by layer, the ocean was undoing the ground itself, slowly in some places, suddenly and violently in others. In labs and field stations, a heavy sense of dread filled the air. For every window shattered by waves, deeper and longer cracks formed in the geological foundation protecting California's coast. With each surge pushing farther inland, the old belief that beaches would recover, that land would hold, that California's coast could endure just one more test began to fade. Experts were clear. This moment could not simply be fixed, rebuilt, or ignored. It marked a permanent shift, forcing people to confront the gap between what they remembered and what was now happening. So what exactly was unfolding along California's coast? And why were the warnings so serious? According to Dr. Lucy Jones, one of California's most experienced seismologists, the answer lay in a rare and dangerous combination of events, a perfect storm that turned disaster readiness into a matter of survival. Certain terms now dominated research screens: tsunami watch, major Pacific earthquake, massive surge, compound hazard. These were no longer distant theories or unlikely possibilities. They became everyday realities for life along the California coast. Subscribe now and turn on notifications to stay updated on breaking coastal developments. Don't miss information that could help protect you, your family, and your neighbors. Staying informed could save lives. The science behind the alarms begins far beneath the Pacific Ocean. On January 10, 2026, a magnitude 6.7 earthquake struck near Humboldt County, triggering immediate analysis. At first, there was no tsunami threat, but that was only the beginning. Within days, a much stronger quake, a magnitude 8.7, erupted off the coast of Russia, sending shockwaves across the entire Pacific region. Alerts spread worldwide within minutes. California's entire coastline was placed under a tsunami watch, an escalation rarely seen in recent history. This surge of energy moved eastward with incredible speed and force. Scientists like Dr. Maya Lin at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography tracked the threat as automated buoys recorded higher than normal waves. But the data only told part of the story. The ocean was already charged with months, possibly years, of built-up stress. Slight increases in sea surface temperatures, measured in fractions of a degree, multiplied risks across thousands of square miles. Currents shifted. Sandbars and kelp forests that once stabilized the coast were torn apart in days. The phrase mega tsunami began trending across media and social platforms. Officials tried to prevent panic, explaining that a true mega tsunami remained extremely unlikely based on the quake's characteristics. Still, the fear was understandable. California's safety margin was thinner than many realized, especially as extreme events overlapped. On Christmas morning, optimism finally collapsed. Forecasts had predicted strong surf, but conditions worsened rapidly. The National Weather Service issued urgent new advisories for Southern California, including Los Angeles, Ventura, Orange, and Santa Barbara counties. As satellite and buoy data streamed in, residents stared at a transformed coastline. Holiday lights that once reflected on calm water were replaced by lightning flashes and a restless, violent sea. Beaches once full of joggers and families stood empty. The sound of laughter was replaced by the thunder of waves. Early reports came in before sunrise. Flooded roads in Pacifica, torn fences in Newport Beach, boardwalks erased by a single massive surge. By dawn, helicopters surveyed homes hanging dangerously close to the edge as cliffs crumbled hour by hour. Dr. Marcus Ellery, a coastal hazard expert, explained it plainly on local radio. This wasn't just flooding. It was the coastline resetting itself. Some changes weren't tests, they were erasers. As sensors measured wave force and subtle ground movement, researchers realized the battle wasn't just about what the ocean was taking, but what the land itself was giving up. Every lost foot of beach, every fallen wall pointed to deeper instability. When extreme waves strike a coast already weakened by sinking land and rising seas, the effects multiply. This is what scientists call compound hazards, multiple threats stacking and strengthening each other. Earth and water, rain and surge, quake and erosion working together in ways old models never predicted. Behind the headlines, lives were changing forever. Flooding repeated with each tide. Repairs failed within hours. Families once confident in their safety watched water creep into homes they believed were secure. In Santa Cruz, drones showed boardwalks underwater and streets erased. Emergency crews rushed residents, pets, and elderly neighbors to safety as familiar landmarks vanished. Further north, sand barriers collapsed far earlier than expected. Fishing ports flooded. Coast Guard stations nearly cut off. Below the surface, sensors recorded slow but steady land sinking, weakening foundations across entire communities. With every surge, the sinking accelerated. It's not just water coming over the piers, Dr. Maya Lin explained. It's the ground beneath us shifting. Power grids failed. Cell towers went dark. Warnings couldn't reach everyone. Emergency messages became blunt. Leave now, before you lose signal. Rescue teams launched boats through flooded streets. Firefighters mapped new sinkholes as roads disappeared. Rural and elderly residents faced the greatest risk as the crisis moved faster than emergency plans could handle. By midday, it was clear this wasn't a single storm. Rain, rivers, waves, and unstable ground combined into one overwhelming force. Inland floods rose. Landslides followed. Coastlines retreated in hours instead of years. Scientists agreed. Old maps, old data, and old assumptions no longer worked. Change was happening faster than measurement. By nightfall, one truth remained. California's coast had crossed a line. The land was shifting. The ocean was rising. Extreme events were no longer rare. This story is no longer just about strength and recovery. It is about humility and adaptation. The future demands attention, preparation, and resilience. Share your thoughts below. How are you preparing for what comes next? Stay connected for science-based updates as California's coastline faces one of the most defining tests in its history.